The Book of Recollections, Episode 35, A Change of Heart, by Dicesylvania. I must say, I am impressed. I simply don't know how you can keep up with all that's happening. You must have plenty of resilience and a unique, unquenching curiosity, or am I simply that good at my job? I guess only time will tell. Now, where were we? Not far from Winterheim, with the group barely setting off on their journey, Mr. Fang made his appearance in the icy night air, followed swiftly by the rest of his covenant, Count Maverick, Lady Isolde, and the Baron. Seeing the bloodlust and fury in their eyes, Jen and Seraphine decided to stand together and fight them off, calling the others to battle. Isolde lunged towards Ammon and Lucian, but the father and son duo seemed to be a fair match. The two managed to keep Isolde's charms at bay while dodging her furious slashes, but after seeing his father get attacked, the son turned invisible, making use of his newfound stealth to shoot missiles towards the vampire, to her frustration. Leo tackled the grandfather himself, having promised Jen to keep her safe and help her see through the deal with her grandmother's heart. But Mr. Fang proved a much more powerful enemy than he anticipated. With a powerful blow, he threw Leo into the nearest wall, hitting the ground with a thud. Luckily, he was not alone. Astrid, the chaotic girl, and her calculated twin brother, Valen, sprang into action, bolting towards Mr. Fang, but the elder vampire anticipated their moves, grabbing both and knocking them against one another. But the twins did not back down and immediately slashed the grandfather, who let out a terrifying yell. Seraphine decided it was time to get revenge on her ex-husband, viciously attacking the Baron, who forcefully opposed her. The tension was palpable, both of them expressing their discontent and cussing at each other while clashing their weapons. Kate saw Maverick charging towards her, and in a surge of nervousness combined with adrenaline and a touch of belief, she started transforming into an immense black bear, raising up on her hind legs, ready to maw the Count. But Maverick was unimpressed, lunging his claws and teeth at her. Adam came flying in behind the bear, ready to attack the Count, while Jen tried to take him by surprise while his back was turned. Kate then attacked the Count with her claws and her powerful jaw, leaving him screaming in agony. Feeling outnumbered, he frantically attacked Jen, who retaliated with her warhammer, throwing a brutal punch in spite of her fear. Adam decided to concentrate his attack on Henry, seeing how he managed to best the twins and Leo altogether. He dealt a searing blow that scorched Mr. Fang's material body, leaving his dark mist scourging back to his coffin. Seraphine kept a close eye on the direction Henry's essence was heading towards, leading them into the opposite direction of Greenspring, towards another village near Winterheim called Eldridborg. One vampire down, the twins focused their wrath upon Maverick, while Jen went to help Seraphine with the Baron, who cast a spell on himself to reach humongous dimensions. Bear Kate bolted towards Isolde, ready to attack the already heavily wounded and frustrated vampire, who saw her coming and used up all her strength to charm the bear, rendering her unable to attack. But the father-son duo dealt the final strike just as Maverick was being struck down by the twins, and the Baron was brought down to size by Adam, only to be obliterated by Jen and Seraphine. With Seraphine leading the way, the group tracked the remaining shadows back to their lair. Before going into yet another confrontation, Seraphine turned to Jen, voice shaking, hands trembling, but still keeping her composure as she asked for Eleanor's heart. Upon hearing that the ticker was the only thing that would help Seraphine in the upcoming battle against Jen's grandmother, she offered it to her. They reached an ominous villa in Eldridborg, following the blood marks on the ground as if somebody or something heavily has been dragged towards the two massive front doors that reeked of darkness. When they reached the front porch, the doors creaked open, leading them into a dimly lit saloon. As they stepped in, they were horrifyingly welcomed by a thin layer of blood coating the ground, leading all the way up to the center of a large room, where the coffin in which Eleanor had been confined was standing deadly still. Heart in hand, Seraphine started chanting the words to start the ritual, the heart slowly rising up in front of her, while what seemed like an arena of blood started encircling all of them, creating some sort of a battle ring. At the same time, Jen slowly approached her grandmother's coffin, lifting up the lid and removing the seal. With a shrill scream, Eleanor rose from her coffin, infuriated with Jen, berating her for betraying her and allying with Seraphine to plot against her. Jen used her most calm and reason-filled voice to convince her grandmother to forfeit the heart willingly while still offering her the option to fight. Naturally, the ancient vampire believed the odds were in her favor and chose violence in the form of a life-and-death fight. But the battle between Seraphine and Eleanor was no ordinary one. First, she would have to prove her physical fortitude against Eleanor's, and only after weakening the material body would she be able to proceed with challenging her mental strength. With the entire party taking up arms against the vampire, Eleanor trapped all of them with her inside the Dome of Blood as part of the ritual. The vampire was no easy foe to defeat, drawing a fair amount of blood from the group, while the blows dealt to her not seeming to land as effective as they thought. But their resilience knew no bounds, eventually succeeding to kneel the powerful vampire. At that moment, the blood dome fell apart, being like a beacon towards the other members of Eleanor's covenant. Knowing the peril that awaited them, Seraphine tasked Jen to manage the rest of the enemies while deciding which vampires of her group would help her defeat Eleanor's strong will in battle to prove her mental fortitude against the old woman. Being aware of how powerful her grandmother was, Jen left Leo, Kate, Adam, Ammon, and Lucian to fight off the incoming enemies, while she and the twins offered to entwine each of their own consciousness with Seraphine's to help her resist the force of Eleanor's. Seraphine's body housed not only her soul, but that of Eleanor's as well. With the others once again battling the vampiric foes, only with lower numbers that time, Seraphine, Jen, and the twins fiercely opposed Eleanor's psychic attacks, barely holding on, but with a sudden surge of willpower, the group blasted the vampire out of Seraphine's mind, permanently obliterating the old woman, while invigorating Seraphine with the newfound power of the heart. After commanding everyone in the room to bow down to her, she took Jen into a separate chamber to fulfill her unbreakable vow. Jen neatly placed the tapestry on the ground, pulling out her savage and starving father out of it. With a small slash of her wrist, Seraphine placed her arm in front of Jen's father, allowing him to drink her blood, ignoring both the pain she was feeling and the sorrow displayed on the vampires' face. With the promise kept, Seraphine retires, leaving Jen and her fully invigorated father to share a heartwarming moment of reconnection. All the while, in the main hall, Adam approached Eleanor's coffin and locked onto it, channeling the energy of Lumeno and slowly starting to shine as bright as a star, a light almost blinding to the others around him, who had to turn their gaze away. Building up more and more, the radiant energy burst from his body, eradicating all the coffins present in the mansion along with the vampires whose they belonged to. All of Eleanor's former covenant was now erased, leaving Adam one step closer to ascension. Amidst the powerful explosion of light, Kate sensed a presence in the hallway, barely spotting the figure of Lunai, who gestured to follow her. The astral quickly went down a corridor, followed by a staircase leading towards a dungeon-like chamber. Inside, multiple, seemingly empty cages were aligned on one side of the dimly lit room. But Kate heard growling from one of the further cages, so she reluctantly followed the noise to see Tolrock hanging upside down, strapped in chains. There was also another creature, a man that seemed to be slowly transforming into a wolf, who was heavily chained while he was fighting to contain the beast within. Kate thought she recognized the man, who averted her gaze, but something else in the shadows drew her attention. Something dangerous creeping up behind her struck before she could even make a move. This was the recap for episode 35 of VIM, as told by the Book of Recollections. I was Karina, Georgescu, your VIM recap narrator. If you'd like to join us as VIM, the Tale of Immortality premieres, tune in on Sunday at 5 p.m. UTC on youtube.com/@Dicesylvania. New recaps drop every Friday evening, and remember, every subscribe keeps the magic alive. Thanks for sticking with us. Good day, good night, and don't let the vampires bite!